Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So let's get it. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. If you tuned in last week, thank you all so much. We did get a lot of feedback from it, a lot of love from that one as well. But we're excited to be back to end up shooting the shit, talking to you about various different topics, controversial ones. We'll touch on Jamarcus Russell a little bit. We'll touch on Lamar Jackson, Matthew Berry. On the sports aspect, Donovan Mitchell was the topic of today. Kind of annoyed by that, so we'll go into that later on. The CPI numbers came out today, so that's something I do want to talk about. And then I'll talk a little bit about NFTs. But just to start with, we always start with the intros and then the quick slants and the updates of various different ways. So, Steven, I read your blog. What's up? What happened? Just give everyone the 411.
Yep. So, gonna start diving back into the quick slants.
And welcome back.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, it's so hot outside right now. Like it's muggy. This was a really bad choice. Like I thought it would be cool. I got the lights out here, like a nice change of scenery. I didn't tell you where I was going to be at.
No.
But it is hot and it is humid here. But yeah, quick slants, diving back into things. I put out a blog yesterday. So I started with blogging like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, honestly. And I used to do it like every week. Being a journalism major, like that's pretty much how I started with things and putting it out on Twitter, and then podcast came along and kind of stole the show on that. So put out a Penn State preview for the offense yesterday, talked a little bit about that, position breakdowns, and then I'm gonna do the defense next, work on that over the next handful of days. And then next Thursday, I'm gonna dive back into the quick slants, kind of recap that, dive into the other sports that are going on, talk about the Open Championship, which starts tomorrow.
Yes.
It's in, for those who don't know, the Open Championship is one of the golf majors of the year. It's over in Scotland, I think. No.
Yeah, it's at St. Andrews.
Yeah, St. Andrews, the old course they call it, which is one of the more well-known courses in the world, in golf wise, next to probably Augusta or Pebble Beach. So looking forward to that. That's big. Tiger is back in the hunt. I don't have any expectations for that though. For Tiger, I just want him to do well and not withdraw and just maybe make the cut again. That'd be dope. But yeah, quick slants next Thursday. Dive back into the podcast episode or aspect of things. I'm gonna keep blogging, just because it's more way to get more content out and do things like that. So I might create once the season rolls around, I might create a new Twitter account for that. Kind of like an offspring of We Got Next. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, gonna start with the podcast game again next week, and then keep blogging. So keep looking for that. I'll put it on Twitter. Christian will keep retweeting it because he's got the homies. So shout out to the homies. But yeah, that's what we got.
So for everyone out there that kind of ever wondered how the story and everything began, Steven was a big reason for all of this ended up happening. I remember after pretty sure we stopped working together, Steven was blogging, and then he also was doing like podcasting and different things of that nature. I would end up listening to it on my drives because I would drive from Virginia to Maryland. So I'd have a lot of time to listen to it. Then I would end up reading his different blogs. And then it just came along a year ago. So congrats to us on making it a year with this.
Yeah.
I started end up like talking to him. We just brought the idea back up. It was something that was already in his wheelhouse. So it was really easy for him. And then just seeing the blog yesterday, I even told him before he got on, I was like, yo, I didn't realize if it was him or if it was somebody else, because one, it was on, I said, nah, he got the kids. That can't be Steven doing that. And then I said, yo, this is Steven. Like, as I kept reading, I said, unless someone stole the quick slants, but I know Steven would have told me that someone did that.
I don't have many talents. But I'm a pretty fucking good writer.
Yeah.
So fun fact, I wrote the entire script for my wedding. It was done all by me. So there you go on that. So if anyone's looking for a script writer for wedding, movie, show, anything, let me know. Holla at your boy. But yeah, that's probably one of my writing. Like I enjoy writing way more than I enjoy doing this. No offense. I have so many thoughts in there. It's just so hard to like put it out here. It's so much easier for me to put it on paper. But at the same time, it's easier for me to just sit here and blab and get out, 1,000 words in less than a minute. So yeah, it's cool. But I'm excited to get back into the swing of things with the blogging and everything, and try and get some views and more content, and maybe do some like interviews blogging ways and things of that nature. We're actually coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the Jerry Sandusky scandal and sanctions. Actually coming up in like a couple weeks. So I'm gonna talk to Jay Hill about that. Hopefully, maybe we can get him on if it works out timing wise, or I can have him, or I can do with the quick slants with him. Maybe put out a little article about that. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
Yeah. So just segueing.
Also,
yeah.
I appreciate Christian is the only person that's been listening and reading all my work since the beginning. Even my wife doesn't even read. She can give two shits less about it, which is fine because she hears me enough anyway. So she just need to read my work. Yeah, big shout out to the homie for holding it down and being the one constant viewer that I've been getting over the last, we've known each other almost 10 years, probably like
it's
8 years.
Coming up on that, yeah.
8 years or so.
Because it was
I've been married
2015.
I've been married. Oh, so yeah, 7 years. Yeah, we've known each other for 7 years because it was right before I got married.
Yep.
Yeah, so 7 years. Yep. So shout out to Christian.
Yeah. So what Steven said with that, it's funny. I have two friends, Steven, and then you'll hear me bring up my friend Asante. I do a lot of sports with him. These two people, they don't say anything in their messages. They'll just send the link, and it's already assumed. It's like, just read it or just listen to it. There's nothing else to it, but you have to understand the friends you have. Like my friend Asante will send me scriptures. It's just that, nothing else is with it. Steven will just send me the link and I'm like, all right, go listen to it. So those are the two things. And I enjoy it. It gives me things, especially because Steven and I don't pay attention to the same things all the time. I get to follow and understand when he's talking about over there. But the other thing I want to segue to is the Twitter spaces we've been doing. So someone did steal an idea that we're going to attempt to do down the line, but they did YouTube and Twitter spaces at the same time, which was a dope idea because you get two different audiences. It is a little difficult to do, but talking about the Twitter spaces, I just had another one on Monday. So thank you to everyone that ended up listening to that one. We had 3 different people. We had Parrot Tools, we had Utter Chaos, and then we had Gyrus. So it was cool having 3 different projects at 3 different stages. This Friday, I will have another one with Maha Dao. So that's something that I'm excited for. That'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They are on the other side of the world. So that was kind of why it's at that time. On Monday, I have 2 going on. So Steven's going to laugh at this one. I have a Monday morning one with Night Owl Syndicate at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because they're on the other side of the world. So it's one of those that I have to almost meet them. I know. It's one of those that I kind of have to do this just to help brand out that aspect because Steven's able to focus on like the sports side and I have to pull my weight on the other side with that. Then the Monday evening, I have 2 that I'm excited for. One is going to be base makers, and I can tell Steven this. I'm not going to end up saying who a part of the team or anything like that. I was talking to, but one of them went to Chris Johnson's alma mater. That's all I'm going to say. So Steven will know what I'm talking about with that.
And running back?
Yeah, running back from the Tennessee Titans. So he went to that school. So we were chopping up with that. And then somebody else within that team went to ODU. So I was able to end up talking to him. Yeah, so shout out for that. So it's kind of cool. I'm talking to him. I don't want to say what team or any of that because I don't want to give that internal information away. The other one is a secret project. So just tune in. On Monday, they're not released yet. So it's kind of like one of the first times they're coming out. So that's the recap of that. The other recap I wanted to do is recapping last week. So what were your thoughts on Jump DeFi? We didn't get to end up like touching on that, but what are your thoughts, especially since we've had a good amount of guests now on the show?
That was great. It's nice that like we do talk about the same thing with everybody, like, in the same space, but everyone has just a different way of viewing, the crypto world, NFTs, whatever, their specialty is. I mean, the answers were way more than I expected. Super in depth, super knowledgeable, obviously. And like I said last week, for people like me, they dumbed it down to so everybody could understand it, like understand aspects of things, the lingo, what exactly they were talking about, because like that's Like that's the biggest thing. It's like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to break it down for us, and we got some good content. We got a lot of positive feedback. Like my man, it sucks that I get all the notifications too for
From We Got Next.
From We Got Next. I'm like, man, my Twitter's blowing up. And I'm like, oh wait, it's not mine. It's We Got Next, because your boy gets no love on Twitter. Follow your boy at Steven_Springs. I thought it was good though. I don't know. I don't want to say it was the best one, because I don't want to knock anybody else that we've done, but it was definitely one of the more like in-depth ones that we've done, just because of the answers. I think we kind of like asked, similar questions to what we usually do, and but I think just the answers made it a little bit more a little bit more fun to kind of go back and listen to, and maybe take something away from it.
Yeah. So what I did like about them, and then I'll give you guys another surprise, but what was dope is afterwards I was talking to them, just thanking them for coming on. They're so early. They haven't even released like their cryptocurrency. They're in the infancy stages. So that's what's exciting. And then getting these projects now, they then want to come back on our show as they continue going forward. So that's what I'm looking forward to, just seeing what they do. I think the funniest part of it all was the question of a tunnel or a bridge, because now that's almost a conversation starter. Whenever I tell anybody to listen to what we played, or even different people that are in the Jump DeFi community, it gets them talking about other topics than just finance or DeFi or NFTs. They're talking about, oh, Brandon legit was talking about this. I wonder, I never thought about that. And I'm like, hell no, because I still to this day don't even know how these damn tunnels are made and how many people died. I was joking, I think, with my mom, and I like brought it up to her, and she was like, tunnel or bridge? Chris, do you ever wonder how many slaves drowned doing that? And I'm like, exactly. Like, you just have to think the amount of people that probably died, because there's no way you're falling off bridges and you're drowning. But that was something
like coal mining.
Same exact thing. Do you know how many people died in there? You see the ones when the mines and like everything collapses in. And I remember when like the kids were stuck in it. That was a huge topic. When it was like 12 to 15 of them that were just stuck in there.
There was one in Western Pennsylvania within the last decade and a half, maybe. And I forget where it was, but they have like dozens of people trapped in there. They got like, I think most, if not, I think they made a movie about it too. I can't remember where it was, but they got like dozens of people trapped in there, and they had like, brought him out in like a tube like this big around.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, dude. I'm like, no, like, again, you gotta be, it's like joining the military, being a police officer, a fireman, like whatever. You gotta have like a different level of like mental, like, not craziness, but like mental like capacity to want to do something like that, and like knowing damn well that like that's a possibility of like you're gonna get trapped and die.
Yeah, so that was something, just thinking about those different ones. Stay tuned to the end, because I have interesting would you rathers or would you prefers for that. I'm going to segue into our only finance crypto talk that we have for today. And as I'm doing that, I want to just let everybody know that I did talk to Tyler from Safe Haven. He has actually been promoted once or twice since we last talked to him. And he said he's probably either going to come on later this month or later next month. He always enjoys talking with us and catching up. He specifically, whenever I talk to him, is always like, how have you and Steven been? And that's what I really do like. It's one of those that, they'll end up bringing it up. I joke with Steven all the time about this, because that was one of the funnier episodes just all around how everything.
And that was one of our first ones too, because
in the beginning.
That was one of the first like 3 months or so. And that was like, no one knew what they were doing.
No,
like we were talking out of our ass for like an hour and a half. And I mean, it ended up being a good episode, and he ended up, wanting to come back. So that's cool. But it'll be a little different this time around.
Yeah. So he's at a different spot. He wants to wait because they have some special announcements coming up. So for everyone out there, make sure to pay attention to that. But I do want to bring up what's on the screen. So I am huge into the finance world for two reasons. One, what's on the screen, the CPI numbers, but then also they were talking about the mortgage rates. And who is the main person that brings up or publishes the mortgage rates on NBC, CNBC, Fox, everywhere? My job. And like, you'll end up seeing it. And the first time I saw it, I was like, oh shit, like that's what we did. Like, that's kind of what we talked about a couple weeks before, but we can't say anything until it comes out. So kind of seeing that, it's very interesting because you hear everybody's points of views, the people that think they know what they're talking about compared to what we do for a living. And like, we honestly have to bring it up. It's cool because you'll see the people saying, oh, that's a big deal. That's great for everyone. Oh, that's not a good thing. It's scary. And I'm like, bro, if only I could tell you really what the truth is behind that, y'all would then feel a type of way. Because you guys are telling your followings and your cults kind of the wrong information sometimes compared to what we hear, see, what the people trade. But focusing on the screen, so this is CPI for everyone that's listening on like Spotify and different places, because I realized we had a good amount of people, I would say, that listened to the past episode on the Spotify and stuff. So just for you all, the first one that's up on the screen is the fuel oil. Obviously, Stephen and I can fully agree with that it has gone up damn near 100%. That's something that's super easy to end up seeing. So for everyone out there as well, the CPI is the Consumer Price Index. It just evaluates the inflation with everything. And in the beginning of this year and early last year, Yellen and Joe Biden and everyone was saying like inflation was going to go down. For starters, everyone that thinks this is all Joe Biden's fault, you're wrong. Part of this is as well the stimulus checks, which came under Trump. So a lot of stuff that's happening right now is under the previous president. So a lot of stuff that Joe Biden will start to do will be shown in the next president. Do I think Joe Biden's going to reelect it? Hell no, for multiple different reasons, but we won't go there on that. Not saying that good, bad, ugly. I just think sometimes he forgets certain things. And yes, I know I see it happening as well, but we're going to keep going. So the next thing I'm going to end up talking about is the gasoline prices. So fuel oil is the first one. And for everyone out there, fuel oil and gasoline are not the same thing. You have to put more things into it for you to end up getting the gasoline aspect itself too. So fuel oil went up 98.5%, gasoline went up basically 60%. And then gas utilities are up 38.4%. Electricity, I have noticed as well, like with electric bills, that going up. Food at homes, you can honestly see that when you go to the grocery store, even like Snicker bars and stuff like that aren't the same. Damn near a lot of things that we end up buying that you could buy last week aren't the same now. Overall CPI, like it shows there, is 9.1. New cars are up 11.4% since last year. And then transportation, that's like your flying, your cruises, your trains. Thankfully, Amtrak is not expensive, so I didn't see it as much there, but you can see it. Food away from home is going to be like your restaurants and stuff. Shelters there. Apparel, thankfully apparel is actually on the lower side because you don't see it as much there, but also, not trying to be mean, half of the shit that they make is not even made in America. So it's made other places. So they're not fully affected by it all. So that's just everything that is shown here. What are your thoughts on it?
Food away from home. It's funny because I went to the gas station today to get some lunch. Gas station I've taken you to multiple times. And their prices are like, $8.99, $9.99, but like you can tell that the stuff that was $8.99 has jumped up to $9.99, and then like stuff that's $9.99 is $10, and like so on and so forth. We just went to the beach 2 weeks ago down in the Outer Banks down in North Carolina, and like our meals were all super expensive. Touristy stuff obviously is going up as well, so that's kind of crazy. Which, like, I mean, none of this is surprising. I just like the last 2 years have just been a complete shit show for markets and all that kind of good stuff. So, well, I guess not good stuff. Apparel gotta go down. Your boys gotta get some new Penn State clothes for the fall. So I need that to drop down a little bit. Gas prices, I mean, they are going down. I think they've gone down like a lot, over like at least like 15 cents in my neck of the woods.
I agree. Yeah. I'm under $5 now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think the gas station that I went to the other day was like $4.84. So like we're cranking it down like a good amount, which is dope. So I mean, like, it's like it all sucks when it goes up, obviously, but like that's just, I mean, it's kind of how it goes, right? I mean, like it sucks, but like that's just how shit is. But yeah, I mean, I think everything's gone up. Flying blows. Actually, I did. So I'm going out to Michigan for the Penn State Michigan game in the fall in October, and I did fly. First of all, Delta Airlines sucks. They've been screwing up.
That's
They've
my
been screwing,
favorite.
bro. They've been screwing up flights left and right. And they changed our flight Friday when we're going out to Detroit, and then Saturday or Sunday coming back from Detroit. They changed it. And did your boy get an email about it? Nope.
No.
I had to go on the Delta website, put in the confirmation number, and like click the button to like have it send me an email. So your boy would have been at the airport, like, you know, in October, it's like chilling with no flight. So yeah, I mean, these numbers, not surprising. Even though I don't pay that much attention, I at least know what this is. And like, I know, like, I see the numbers when they, you know, pop up on Twitter or whatever. So I understand what they are, but none of it's surprising.
Yeah. So that was kind of the big thing I wanted to bring up here, just because they are increasing interest rates. If you don't believe that they're increasing interest rates, look at your investment banking account. So for example, if you look at Ally or if you look at Goldman Sachs, the percentage has started to go up. It's over 1% during all the shit that was happening. Goldman Sachs was giving APY interest of under 1%. So none of it really means much because that's not really a lot in the grand scheme of stuff. But it is starting to increase. So that's going to go up, and then gas prices are starting to go down. We're at around 465, which is pretty good for us as well. Virginia's a little bit cheaper than us, but because of everything going on, they can't be too much cheaper. The other thing before we segue into sports and stuff, I do want to say a huge shout out to Solana Monke Rejects. We had them on the spaces. They were either the first or second that I ended up talking to, and they just did their merch drop that ended up happening. If I can bring it up fast, I'll show you, but we're going to do a merch reveal release when all of the stuff ends up coming in. I told them that I would end up doing that for them. I probably got like 3 or 4 things from them. Don't worry, the monkey like this is not on it. But let's see if I can find it. And then I want to end up talking about Matthew Berry. That's going to be the next thing we'll bring up. But if I can.
So speaking of while you look at this, speaking of Twitter Spaces, I might start doing that during the season. Either, I mean, it'd be dope to do it at like halftime during a Penn State game when I'm not actually at the game, but I'll be way too intoxicated to even think about doing that. So I might do it like Mondays after the games or Fridays. Might do like a Monday after, or like a Friday before. Might do both. I'm sure I can get, you know, a dozen or so people to start pitching about Penn State football like before the season even starts. So I might take a gander at that and see what's going on and see what that's like. So see how it goes.
That's something I would honestly tune in for, just to kind of see, especially since it's on Saturdays. This is, so for everyone out there, the first one I'm showing is their beanie that they end up dropping. It's just a simple one, which I love because there's no ball and stuff on the top. If you guys know, a lot of times like the football beanies, they got the damn ball on the top, and I can't walk everywhere with the ball and stuff like that. The next one that is here is just the shirt. I didn't get the shirt. What I got is a hoodie, a crew neck, and then a beanie. So here's just the shirt. And then they have a sticker as well. And I didn't get the sticker. Then they had this hoodie. I don't even wear hoodies all the time, but I just kind of like the color of it. And that's kind of, it was a sand color, and not everyone creates like a sand color type hoodie and stuff like that. So shout out to them. They were one of the first on the spaces. So I wanted to end up just giving them some love and like picking some stuff up. I told them I'll end up doing a merch reveal as well. But going into sports, because that's kind of been like the big thing that I wanted to talk about and bring up. First thing is Matthew Berry. So what are your thoughts on Matthew Berry and everything that was going on?
Sucks that he's leaving ESPN, because I think a lot of us got into fantasy football because it was like we were all degenerate gamblers, and like you know, once ESPN adapted that, it was like, sure, like I'll gamble even more than I am now. You know, small, just like putting out random things. Are we good now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. He started to like put out random blogs and things like that. But then, you know, expanded into like the TV shows, and he'd be on ESPN, he'd be on SportsCenter, and he'd be on like Sunday NFL Countdown. And he had his own he co-hosted a radio show, I think, with
Fantasy 06010.
Yeah. So he did a lot like for like the fantasy game. Like, and like I don't want to say without Matthew Berry, there'd be no like DraftKings or FanDuel, but like, I
He's a
mean, who the
huge
hell
part.
knows, you know?
Yeah.
So not that I ever listened to him because I thought I always had a better knowledge than him, but like, yeah, I mean, shit, dude, like he was like the fantasy guru on ESPN for what, like the better part of a decade.
Years. Yeah.
So shout out to him, man. He really changed the game for a lot of people, helped a lot of people win some, lose some. People like pissed at him constantly, but like he definitely changed the game for things. I don't know. He didn't say what he's gonna do. Seems like he's gonna take some time off and
man's got 5 kids. I bet he does need
does
to.
he?
Yeah, he got a
Golly,
lot of
man.
kids.
That sucks. But yeah, good for him, you know, for doing what he did for the fantasy world and helping out people like us. Whether we listen to him or not, he always put out great content. He was always honest. So yeah, that's a big loss, but he'll probably pop on some podcast. He'll probably do his own. I guarantee you, he'll do his own podcast. I would be shocked if that's not his next move in like a year or two.
Yeah. So the big thing with that is, he didn't specify, and it reminds me of kind of how other people end up leaving and going to different places. Because what he said is he had other opportunities, and when he brought it up to ESPN, they mutually agreed that he can go pursue these opportunities. AKA, there got to be a lot more money out there for him, and ESPN probably did not want to pay that amount of money because what ESPN has been doing recently, they've kind of been getting younger people. If you look at a lot of the people that are the broadcasters at like the Summer League, who's in charge of the NBA draft, who's in charge of NBA Today, they're bringing on people that aren't necessarily going to be as expensive, but then you're bringing in more athletes. So they're kind of switching it up over there. And now you have like Fox doing fantasy sports. They brought people in. You have NFL Network doing fantasy sports, CBS doing fantasy sports, Yahoo has fantasy sports. All these different places have fantasy sports, and a lot of it is because of Matthew Berry. Yes, sometimes like he will go on tangents and stuff like that, and like he'll end up talking a lot. But if you just look at exactly, but so do we. And people are going to listen. So now I'm curious what they're going to do at ESPN, because you're almost giving the baton right now to Field Yates to do it. I don't think he's going to be the only one that's going to be the major focus of it.
Field Yates.
Yeah, Field Yates. What's crazy is I remember in the beginning when he first started at ESPN, I got to meet him because my dad lives up in Connecticut. So I went up to ESPN and I was Field Yates for a little bit, got to talk to him and things of that nature. But I'm curious as to where it goes. Shout out to Matthew Berry, because probably when I would be going to the same job when I worked with Steven, I would listen to their podcast a decent amount of the time. Half the time just to hear like who the players they thought were going to do well. Then I could do my own research. Then I got to the point of, all right, trust your own instinct and gut, and then go with that. So that's kind of the big thing with that one. Just wanted to give our flowers to him. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the man himself, Jamarcus Russell. For everyone out there that does or does not know about Jamarcus Russell, they kind of call him one of the biggest busts. He said, put biggest on that. And I mean, I kind of do agree, like looking back at that draft and how everything was, it was crazy. But what are your thoughts? And then I'll pull up who else was drafted that same year.
Yeah, it's just like everyone's heard the stories. I mean, he was a beast. Like a beast. Not your prototypical quarterback. He was what, like 6'6", like 250.
Huge. He showed when he threw it off his knee.
Yeah, he could throw it like 80 yards, just a flick. Number one pick, Raiders. I mean, it's so perfect that he went to the Raiders though. Like, cause they were just like, I mean, the Raiders up until Derek Carr were like, was the laughing stock. I mean, since what, early 2000s when they had Rich Gannon, but like, you know, the Raiders were dog shit. And, you know, the hope was that Jamarcus Russell was going to come in and change the game. And that was, I think him or Sam Bradford was one of the last few to get that those like $50 million guaranteed signing bonuses as a rookie, being the number one overall pick. But then, you know, you heard stories like, what was the one story that I've heard, I don't know how many times over the last decade or so, about they they gave him a CD to take home to study the plays.
He didn't study
It
plays.
was like 20 plays or whatever. And they brought him back in. They said, what was your favorite play from this one? Like, what should we do? He was like, oh, I liked them all. He's like, oh yeah, like, did you have anything in particular? He's like, no, we're good. Like, let's use them all. CD was blank. So, I mean, and I don't know if they mentioned this in the pivot, which is where you mentioned that he did an interview at, but is he broke? Because he got like, $60 million.
It didn't. So a couple of things. It didn't seem like, especially from the watch he was wearing, he was broke. I know he doesn't have like big time money because his deal was almost like 60 or 66 million. It was a big contract that he got, but it didn't seem like he was broke. But I appreciated him being on there because you could tell so much. One, I feel so bad for the situations that he was in because
so what was that? What was going on?
So with the pivot, basically, this was one of his first ever interviews he's done. He liked the vibe and everything, especially because you had Channing Crowder, and then you also had Fred Taylor coming over to the pivot, and Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark's just your chilled person. You would think he's just your regular person, and then my man's like decked out with tats. Like he'll tell you the truth about things. He was one of the first people to bring up like Derek Stingley. So I like those three. And they brought up deep topics. They brought up him like with the syrup and stuff of that nature. He said
that's right.
Yeah, he said he doesn't take pills. So that's kind of why, like, he started getting hooked on like the cough syrup. He had like a shoulder injury one time and he would use like the syrup, but people took it in a different way from that. He said he never was one to like study film. He kind of always just went out there to play. They expected him to study for like 5 hours. He never did that. But he said, and this was the humility I heard with him. If he could do it again, he would study film. That was something that he would have done differently. Something else, he said he had a family and a unit with him in LSU. When he got to Oakland Raiders, he didn't really have that. And he like tried to clear up some stories because at LSU, they were all like, yo, you were a dog. Hell yeah, my man was a dog. They also compare him to saying Josh Allen is what Jamarcus Russell should have been. And when you see like the body frame and things like that, I can kind of see it. Jamarcus Russell was just a different beast at that point in life. But he was talking about that. He talked about the weight, and that was kind of something else. He said he wasn't honestly aware of half the time when they would take his checks because nobody told him about the weight he needed to be. They never said that. There's probably two sides to those stories. Like some he might have known, some he probably didn't know. He said he didn't understand the business aspect until he left the NFL.
None of them do. Like none of them do, though. That's the thing.
None of them do.
Like none of them
and
do.
It's the circle that they have. And what sucks is the same people that LeBron got, I promise you, Jamarcus Russell and other people could have or should have had those same people. But LeBron's circle started before he even got in the NBA. His group was like high school. They all had their different roots of what they were smart and intelligent in. And that's what helped him along the way.
Yeah.
And with Jamarcus Russell, you could just tell. So he works now as a quarterback coach, basically at a high school, back kind of at home. But it was one of those things of, he said he never really did like all the partying and stuff of that nature, but they kind of made him out to be that way. It's just one of those, his biggest issue was he didn't have the right circle. And I personally feel if he had the right circle that told him, yo, you need to focus. He also was saying that a lot of the vet quarterbacks left. They like sent them out. So that kind of sucked. And then he thought he had a good relationship with Hugh Jackson, that Hugh Jackson ends up saying, oh, we're bringing in Jason Campbell. First off, Jason Campbell is not that good, but they brought in Jason Campbell, and that kind of almost was the writing on the wall for him. And they kind of like went their separate ways with all of that. So I do feel bad in that aspect. Shout out to him because he was one of the last ones that got them contracts, but it's really tough because he even admits that he was a big bust. He was even honest talking about how Mario Williams apparently took a pay cut to end up being the number one pick when everyone damn well knew it should have been Reggie Bush. That was the number one pick. The other thing before I want Steven's thoughts, I just want to tell you who else was drafted that same year Jamarcus Russell was. And it's the biggest yikes and probably one of the better. Correct. 2008. So in that draft, this is the first round, not even other rounds. The number 2 pick, Calvin Johnson. Number 3 pick, Joe Thomas. Number 4 pick was Gaines Adams. We don't really pay attention to him. Number 5 was
I think
Levi.
he passed away. Gaines Adams.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to him, though. But
Levi Brown, shout out Penn State.
Exactly. Then after that, one of the biggest hitters at the time at number 6 to the then Redskins, LaRon
Landry. My fucking guy. Yo, in college, speaking of LSU, he was a motherfucker. He was a motherfucker, bro. My man did not give a fuck about anything.
Nothing. He was huge.
Bro, my man had forearms the size of most people's quads.
Yes. So then number 7, Adrian Peterson.
And that's a Hall of, like, there's 4 Hall of Fame guys in there in that top 10?
We're not done. Number 9 to the Dolphins was the dude that Steven hated, Ted Ginn Jr.
Teddy Ginn, also another motherfucker in college.
Yes.
Like if you look at my college football like highlight tape that I have on YouTube, those like he's him, Reggie Bush, AP, those dudes in college, man. Oof. You want to talk about speed with Teddy Ginn? Golly, man.
Yeah. Also in that I'm almost done and then we'll keep going. Number 11 to the 49ers was Patrick Willis. Number 12 was Beast Mode himself, Marshawn Lynch to the Bills. 14 was Darrelle Revis. 15, who was good at the time, Michael Griffin. But then Dwayne Bowe, that was his boy who he brings up a lot in the show. And then at number 28, Steven knows this one, Joe Staley. So number 31 to the Bears at the time was Greg Olson. And then we'll finish off with 2 more. Number 34 was Puzz.
Shout out.
Lesney. Yep. And then 37 will be my last one. You had Eric Weddle. So the amount of people that were all drafted in that one, and you could just imagine who all is going to become Hall of Famers from that. Right now it's 1 with Calvin Johnson, but we clearly know it's going to be more than that.
Joe Thomas is going to be 1.
Exactly.
Patrick Peterson's going to be 1. AP is going to be 1.
Yeah.
Who else was in there? Joe Staley might be.
Yeah.
If Paul Posluszny did not play for the Bills and Jaguars, he probably would have been close to that. He's the best college football linebacker ever, by the way. Patrick Willis, maybe
he might. Yeah.
Marshawn should be, but they're not gonna give it to him.
It'll take years.
There are some names in there though. Man, I'm getting eaten up by these mosquitoes. Golly, this sucks. Bad choice.
That was what I want to talk about with that. The other thing we're going to talk about is the controversial topic that everyone's brought up. And at first I was going back and forth thinking, is he or is he not? And I also feel the contract is a big reason for this, but Lamar Jackson being outside of the top 10 was a big topic of conversation. Then of course they want to get on him because he's representing himself and he's holding out. Is it a good decision? Is it a bad decision? I personally think some of this is because of the TV deals, but now he's saying he's open to doing a contract. Right now, his weight that he did have compared to when he started this to now, I personally say was good, because the amount of contracts you saw, stupid contracts that were just signed, he's going to be up there in that money. Then he also waited till after Watson. He's going to be somewhere in that category. But what are your thoughts on that? And then also, what are your top 10?
All right. So the Lamar Jackson conversation, I think, is like him not being ranked as high as everyone wants him to be. I don't think is as egregious as people want to think. So I think, isn't it funny how the Ravens have another quarterback where like, is Joe Flacco elite? Is Lamar Jackson elite? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, we all know he's one of the top 3 to 5 best athletes in the league.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's no denying that. But is he one of the top 10 best quarterbacks in the league? Probably. I like elite quarterback. No, like elite quarterback. It's like consistency, accuracy, minimal mistakes. It's just like, it's those consistent factors that he just doesn't have yet. Like when he won the MVP, we all saw what he can do. Like we all know what Lamar Jackson can do. It's like what we all want a Michael Vick to do for 10 to 12 years. So we all know that he's capable of doing that, but it's like he also didn't have a lot of help. I know Hollywood Brown had his moments, but they traded him.
Still got
for a
no damn
reason.
wide receivers.
Right. He has no receivers.
Ever.
Like no receivers. And as much as they want to throw to Mark Andrews on every play, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
And losing J.K. Dobbins last year was so crucial. So having him back healthy, hopefully, that'll raise Lamar Jackson's ability again.
Him being healthy.
He actually has some injuries. Like the last 2 seasons since his MVP season, his numbers have fallen off. Not drastically, but like his touchdowns have gone down, yards have gone down, completion percentage has gone down slightly, but like again, his interceptions have gone up. So like he's not been that accurate. He's careless with the ball sometimes. But he can change the game in the matter of seconds, right? So I think like going into the top 10, I have, and the question isn't like, is he a top 10 quarterback? It's who would you really rather have over Lamar Jackson? And I think you can probably name 6 or 7 of these guys who are fully established quarterbacks. You've been doing it for a while. If he puts together another 3 to 4, probably like it's gotta be probably quicker than that, probably like another 2 or 3 like all pro seasons, and he's going to cement himself as a top 5 quarterback because a lot of these guys are going to be gone by the time that happens. But like it's just the consistency factor of doing it. Like his numbers have dipped, like I just said. Like, so that means he's not being consistent. So we all know what he's capable of, but it's the consistency factor of doing it all. So I got, and I don't have a specific order. I just kind of rambled off 10 guys and then one honorable mention. I got Brady, Rodgers, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Lamar, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, and I got Dak as an honorable mention. So I think you got guys like Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. Those guys are solidified. And Matthew Stafford, people slept on him because he was in Detroit. Exactly. And bro, he won them the Super Bowl. He drove down, made the throws. Obviously, Cooper Kupp had a hand in that. But like you're not getting there without Matthew Stafford being like elite at what he does.
Hashtag Jared Goff.
So there's that. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't care what people say about how corny he is. I don't care about any of that. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I think he's going to have an unbelievable season in Denver. He's just going to launch the ball like 70 yards down the field on every play because they're going to have their receivers to do so. And with that altitude, he's going to have stupid numbers.
Oh, that ball is flying.
Guarantee. If he's not in the MVP discussion by the end of the season or like midway through the season, something's wrong there. So he's another guy who's been established. Joe Burrow is not there yet, but like he again took his team to the Super Bowl last year. You don't just do that by accident. He had a good team around him, but like you don't just do it by accident. So he's close to doing it. Justin Herbert. I think people don't really pay attention much to him because outside of like the actual true fans, because he plays out in California, we don't get to really watch his games a couple times a year when he's on the East Coast or on prime time. So that's another guy, but he's closer to cementing himself if he hasn't done so already than Lamar and Burrow. Josh Allen's a top 5 quarterback. So that guy's like, he's legit. I think he's closer to being like the number one after like Brady and Rodgers. I think those 2 guys are like the dudes still until they retire. I think they're still the dudes, no matter how much people hate them for various reasons. I think Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I didn't mention his name yet, but I think it goes without saying where Patrick Mahomes is. I think it's Mahomes and Josh Allen are probably like those next 2 guys in line behind Brady and Rodgers. Russell Wilson, I think, is up there still, but then you got Derek Carr, and I think you got Lamar Jackson towards the end of that list. So like if you want to replace, Matthew Stafford with Lamar or Derek Carr with Lamar or Joe Burrow with Lamar, because Lamar has MVP, but he didn't get his team in the Super Bowl yet. So like it's basically just like I said, where do you want to who do you want to take over him? Do you want to take Joe Burrow over Lamar Jackson? That's fine. But do you want to take him over? Would you take Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson?
They both get injured, but I would have to say Lamar.
Really?
Yeah. because of the capability with his legs. Dak Prescott's not going to run as much as he used to because he got those different leg injuries and feet injuries. But I would probably say that Dak, I've always liked Dak. Coming out of Mississippi State, everyone knows that was one of the people I said was going to do well. So I always have love for Dak. I just think if Lamar Jackson has a receiver, the same capability of CeeDee Lamb, this is a different conversation because he has Dalton Schultz and he has CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. All Lamar has is Mark Andrews and wide receiver Mark Andrews.
He also had Amari Cooper. He also still has Zeke Elliott. He also had one of the best offensive lines in the last 10 years. But let me just go through this. Let me just go through these names, and you say either this person or Lamar. Tom Brady or Lamar Jackson.
Brady.
Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson.
Rodgers.
Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
Next question.
Mahomes or Lamar Jackson.
Mahomes.
Okay. Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson.
Right now, Herbert. Herbert's good.
Okay. Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson.
I'm trusting Burrow.
Okay. Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson.
Wilson.
Derek Carr or Lamar Jackson.
That's when it gets tough. Because I might go Lamar Jackson.
I'd probably say Derek Carr just because he's been doing it longer and I probably trust him more, but he's also made a lot of mistakes. So that's a toss-up. Stafford or Lamar Jackson?
Stafford.
Okay. So you picked eight of those quarterbacks at the top out of the 10 guys that I mentioned. So he's in the top 10. Like you can probably, I'm sure there's a couple guys I'm probably missing, like Matt Ryan, probably not anymore, but like, if people want to make the argument for it, whatever, but like, he's either in the top 10 or borderline. So it's not like egregious to say. Now, if he puts that string together of like 2 or 3 more good seasons and is in the MVP conversation and they win the AFC North and win the AFC and go on to the Super Bowl and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, sure. Like you have to put him up there. But like Joe Burrow, like you weren't really hesitant with Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow just did it.
Yeah.
Like, he just did it. He just did it. He went through the AFC and just did it. He went through Patrick Mahomes. So it's like that counts for something. So that he's only been in the league for 2 seasons, but that counts for something. So I don't really have a top 10. I guess that will be my top 10. And then at number 10, probably put Stafford, I guess. So like 8, 9, 10 is all mixed up. But I think the first like 6 or 7 guys, pretty flat, pretty even right there.
So what's interesting about yours that you had, we have it very similar. But number 1, I don't think we need to talk about my number 1. He's been number 1 for a minute. But going into, I'll start at the end and then I'll go to number 1. Although if you've not followed me for probably the past 3 years almost, you should know. But so a couple honorable mentions I do have because I think they do have potential, but they won't be great. Matt Ryan, I just like the receivers that he kind of has going for him right there. I'm big on Michael Pittman, just kind of what he was doing with Carson Wentz. I believe it can be better with Matt Ryan. And I don't like Kirk Cousins as a quarterback because it's just Kirk Cousins. But as long as he just keeps chucking it at Justin Jefferson, he'll always be fine. I think Adam Thielen's like on his last legs. Adam Thielen was a beast in the beginning when people first heard about him in fantasy and then also just in regular football. But when Justin Jefferson came, it was kind of like, all right, bye-bye. But getting into like the top 12-ish. So I have at 12, and these are all toss-ups, Lamar Jackson. He did have iffy numbers. He had 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, but he was injured a good amount. Number 11, Derek Carr. So he had a 68% passer rating. And then number 10, I have Dak Prescott. Yes, I just said Lamar Jackson over Dak Prescott, but it's one of those, it's all a toss-up in that area.
Wait,
it's
passer rating or completion percentage for Derek Carr? Completion percentage, right?
Completion percentage.
Okay, I was in passer rating. That would be dog shit.
No.
Okay.
Completion
all right.
percentage.
I was going to say, dang. All right, cool. All right,
yeah. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Number 9, as long as he shuts his mouth and stops complaining at times, Kyler Murray. Number 8, I have Russell Wilson. And it's just because it's such a tough look here. But also Wilson last year had over 3,000 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Still good. and he couldn't necessarily get the ball to DK and lock it all the time.
Line.
Yeah, no offensive line. And he'll have a running back now. That's a huge thing. You guys know how I felt about CC. So that's all I'm going to say. Going to number 7, Matthew Stafford. Number 6, Joe Burrow, because of what Joe Burrow just did. And Matthew Stafford was there too. And this is where it becomes interesting. Number 5, I have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, only thing that's tough for him right now is what he's going to do with the receivers that he has. I know he's always going to do well, but he'll have to find.
I thought you were going to say what he's going to do with the vaccine.
That too. Number 4, and he's another one. He's in that same category of when I knew that Dak Prescott was going to be good, knew that Josh Allen was going to be good, Justin Herbert. I really like Justin Herbert's game a lot. He's just your regular guy. There's nothing flashy about him. He just goes out there. He
Other than the fact that he has a fucking cannon.
Dog. That arm is something else. He has good receivers, has a good running back, has the tight ends that'll work. Their offensive line is continuing to get better. Their defense is going to be good. So it allows Justin Herbert to be on the field to analyze the field as much as he needs to. So Herbert's at number 4. Number 3, Patty Mahomes. He's always going to be like in that top 3 to 4 conversation. Number 2, because he's just goated at this position forever, Tom Brady. Whether he deserves it or not, Tom Brady he's older than all of these people. He's been doing it twice as long as half of them have been alive. So for him to be still doing it at this level, he's going to be there. And number 1, I have to always give him his flowers and stuff, and that's Josh Allen. I
have no problem with Josh Allen being number 1.
Yeah.
Like, I think I picked Brady and Rodgers. I got a question for you, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I think I picked Brady and Rodgers just because they've been doing it for so long, and like in those I think about like big moment games, maybe trust them a little bit more. But I don't have a problem with Josh Allen being number 1 on your list. So would you would pick Kyler over Lamar?
I would pick Kyler over.
And also, did you pick Kyler because of the weapons that he has, or because like he's a good quarterback?
I think partially both, but the main reason why I picked Kyler Murray is he seems to understand, get the hell down and stop going into people. And then also that baseball aspect that he brings to it plays an important part in terms of like his throwing ability, the accuracy that he does have there. But then also he has that Drew Brees body frame. So it's kind of one of those, he can get in between different places quicker. I will always trust Lamar Jackson more, but I think they just need to add a couple of weapons for his accuracy to get better. Because you can throw it, he can throw it to Zach Ertz, he can throw it to now Hollywood Brown when D-Hop comes back. He can throw it in almost any small area, and they're going to come down with it, which is going to increase his accuracy. You are not doing that over there in Baltimore. I can promise you're not doing that. The only one you could do that with is Mark Andrews. But even when the whole stadium knew it was going to Mark Andrews, all of Pittsburgh Steelers knew it was going to Mark Andrews. What did they do when it counted? Threw it to Mark Andrews. And you can't just chuck it in every single pocket. So that's what I think will help him when he has other weapons. His accuracy will become better. And when he starts getting down, that'll help too. They need to help with the offensive line a little bit too. But overall, I will trust Lamar Jackson because of the flashes we saw in the beginning. But right now, because Kyler Murray just has those certain instincts that Lamar has to continue to develop, I'll just go with that. And I think the coaching schemes are different. Like what Cliff Kingsbury is doing out there with those wide receivers is very different than what Harbaugh is doing out there in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I didn't even think about Kyler Murray, but he's got a ton of weapons too, which is I mean, like just give Lamar Jackson one of those weapons, and he'll flourish even more than he already has.
So you ready for that time of the day?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No,
so
I don't look. I don't want to be stuck on a boat. I don't want to be trapped in a bridge or like on a tunnel. Like nothing. Don't give me those scenarios because I'm just gonna walk away.
So I'll give you. It's an interesting one because it's life or death. For everyone out there, I went on a field trip last week, I think, with one of my old jobs, and we went to Ocean City. So what happened was on the bus, they end up playing like Jaws for the kids, and nobody ever thinks it's going to happen. But when we got to the beach, we were just chilling, and a shark washed up on the beach. But
no fucking way. No, that did not happen.
It did.
Christian is lying to everybody. How did I not know about this?
I think you were busy. So what I'll do is I think I took a picture of it. Oh, so while
picture didn't count.
Huh?
Picture didn't count.
Yeah, so obviously. I'll send this to Steven and he'll verify it for you all. But while I'm asking the scenario, the first one is, would you rather be in a tornado that's in the Midwest, in a hurricane that's in the islands, or be in an avalanche in that video we saw?
Probably the avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would say tornado, because the other two, it's a lot less likely that you're going to find some escape route.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, the guy's avalanche video had about 20 seconds to move, and he didn't.
The hell.
Now, I did see he did post on Instagram that he was with some people and they were like sightseeing on like a tour or whatever. And he knew there was something like there was an area where he could get down right behind him. So it wasn't like he was some random guy on like a mountainside, and like he had like an escape route if this happened. So still stupid. Hurricane, that water is going to find you
easily, like, on an island. Absolutely.
Like, you're done. Oh yeah, you said an island. Yeah, even worse. You're done. Tornado, like, I can at least like find an underground shelter. Oh, it's a bug on my screen. Like an underground shelter or something, like, to, and the tornado is going to last for about, like, 30 seconds as it passes your house and rips your house apart. So I would say the tornado, because I can probably find a quicker place to survive than I could in the other two.
So mine is a tornado. Reason being, the specific place that I said was in the Midwest. They just know how to deal with tornadoes. I have seen so many things where they're like, yep, tornado just hit us. And I'm just thinking, all right, then you have the Wizard of Oz where they just had a tornado. So they know, just get the hell down, or you have damn near that secret bunker that you can go in for a tornado. A hurricane, you're not surviving that in the islands. Everything is destroyed. Even to this day, Puerto Rico still has shit that they're dealing with all the time. You can look at how all the different, I know. Yeah. So even
okay. So real quick about this shark. Okay. First of all, you said shark. I'm thinking like a great white shark.
No.
Washed up on the water, washed up on the beach. Like that was my first thought, was like, damn, like a 12-foot shark. This is like a goldfish.
It's not that small.
Dead ass is a fish. Okay, I'll give you that. It's a fish. This guy is petting the shark.
Oh, that was like the third time they brought it up, because the first time they tried to send it back into the water, and it was a stormy-ish day. So he kept getting pushed back up onto the beach. Then they tried to bring him back out. He got pushed back up again. And the tough thing was he was injured as well. But I was like, I am not getting in that water.
Your boy Frank here is just manhandling it, just grabbing it by the tail, and about to just launch it back in the ocean. Like, dude, no. Like, that guy has no shark experience whatsoever. Guy does not know what he's doing. And my guy, is that the same guy that's holding it in the first picture? Because you can't see the guy.
Yeah, it's the same one. It was like one of those Ocean City people.
Okay, so so this guy's got a little walkie-talkie on his belt, so maybe he knows what he's doing. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna. I mean, shark. It can still. I don't think this shark would kill you, but like, it's still got some pretty sharp teeth. So like, obviously not gonna worry about that. But I definitely had a different picture of a shark in my head when you said that. I was thinking like a 12-foot great white shark.
I'm taking all the kids and we're just running the other way. Hell no. If that washes up,
that's still some shit though.
Yeah, I was not expecting that when I went out there. And the wildest part is, after like the third time it washed up, they end up like calling for an ATV. So they brought it somewhere else. this is the worst, either death or the way just to struggle more. So on an ATV, it was a seat and the backside where a human sits. What happened was Frank, he sat on the back, held the tail of the shark, and they basically just dragged the shark along the sand.
Of course, dude.
Away.
Of course. Because you didn't want to hold that thing.
Hell no.
Wait, did they close the beach? Like, did they close the beach? Like when it I mean, it's a shark swimming in the ocean.
Steven.
Like I know it's like, I know the shark was like a foot long, but like,
Steven, what happened was the lifeguards did the little YMCA thing that they do with the flags. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, blew the whistle, go back in. And then two of the kids were like,
so it was like Adult Swim.
Just go back in the water.
All right, all the kids out of the water, 15 minutes. Clear the pool for a second. All right, everyone back in the ocean.
When they saw the shark roll up, they stopped everyone from getting in the pool the beach, because it kept washing it back up. So they were like, if a kid ends up accidentally coming next to it, something can happen. But what they did was they let everyone back in. Then people were fishing on the side. So like 2 rays were caught. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not getting in this water, because if you're seeing 2 rays, you're seeing a shark, and then they caught like 5 fish. There is some big ass thing that is out there right there too.
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
mom.
reason. Yes, that's what I was saying.
Its mom is circling like, okay, who's taking my baby out of the water still?
Exactly.
Frank, where are you at, boy?
So the other one is kind of cool, and I've thought about this for a while. It's one of those in sports, everyone knows of like the good looks. So I thought of this because today in baseball, I saw this one pitcher, he threw the ball, the batter hit it, and the outfielder made a diving catch. So this is going to be in 4 different sports. Which is the best AO good looks for me? So the first one is in baseball, and the pitcher throws it, maybe not the best throw. The batter hits it, and then the outfielder like does some stunning diving catch, and then everyone knows like the pitcher like put his hand up like, appreciate you, bro. Mm-hmm. In soccer, if the goalie gets crossed up and he ends up falling, and then one of the defenders slides and gets the ball out of there, goalie always is like, good luck for protecting me.
Yep.
The next one is in football, when the punter punts it and basically is inside that 10-yard line, and then you have like one of the gunners that are down there catches it. Punter's always like, good luck, because you just got me a paycheck off of doing something like that. Or in basketball, when someone has a turnover and then on the other end, their teammate blocks the guy from getting a layup. Which of those 4 sports is you think the best good looks? Appreciate you.
I would throw basketball out of there, because unless it's like the last play of the game, it's not going to determine much. But it's still like a good play. Man, that's tough. Football, I would probably say no, because again, like one punt down inside the 1-yard line isn't gonna change the entire game. It could, but chances are not likely. Soccer or baseball? Probably soccer, because like that one goal can change. I mean, baseball is the same way, but with the way baseball is, chances are you're not gonna, you'll score more than 1 run. Soccer, you might not score a goal at all. So I would probably say soccer, because most of the time, though, like that's like baseball, like where it's going. Like, so you just gotta get on, you just gotta go. You just gotta just truck it and hopefully make the catch. Yeah. Soccer, like, it can take a crazy bounce. It can, especially if it gets by the goalie and like it's, like a knuckleball type of kick, or it's just rolling, like you gotta sprint and like slide and like, so there's a whole thing of that about, the how you're getting to that point. But I would probably say soccer, because that one goal can make a huge difference. That was a good one. That was a good question.
Yeah. So I'm torn, and I'll put it in situationals. Baseball will be hands down the number 1 choice for me on a sliding catch if it's a perfect game or a no-hitter, and that one catch is the thing that just changed it. And that was kind of when I was watching, I said, he didn't have a no-hitter, but he had basically a complete shutout almost. They didn't score. Yeah. And it was when I was like, you definitely helped me out, because your ass could have either dislocated or like fractured your wrist for doing that catch, and he put his body on the line for it. But I will have to say soccer on the regular, just for the simple fact of when you get past the goalie and then the defender ends up slides to get it out of there, you do like some sort of sliding tackle. that defender is about to cuss the hell out of the goalie as to why the hell were you so far out?
Yep,
Why the
yep,
hell did I have
yep.
to do all this shit to save your ass? And then they're going to give you the credit for all this, but yet I'm over here having to help you. So that's mine. I will always go with baseball if it's like a perfect game, complete shutout, or like the closing of it, or even if it's like the last catch or anything like that. So that's all I have for today. That's all we have. What you got for everyone?
Shout out, I mentioned it not too long ago. Shout out to my wife. We celebrated our 7-year anniversary on Monday. So shout out to us. Someone asked me, someone had texted me, happy anniversary. Do we have plans? Bro, as much shit as we got going on with our kids and like activities and sports and everything, and like my wife's clients and like my job, like we have no time during the week. We barely have time to eat dinner, like in our house.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have any plans. I got her some flowers. Well, I ordered flowers from 1-800flowers.com, and I got them delivered. They were supposed to come on Monday, but then the dude showed up at the door with the wrong flowers. It was like, thanks for the help. Thanks for the help with the house, Larry, Frank, and Joe. And I'm like, dude, first of all, I ordered like red roses and like some white flowers and all that kind of good stuff. And these are like yellow daisies. And I'm like, bro, do I look like someone that's going to order yellow daisies? First of all, your boy's colorblind. Don't know what that don't know what that means. So I'm like, no, and my name is like not Frank, not Mo, not Larry, not Curly. Bro, come on. The dude was so like, the guy was like so nervous that he was gonna get fired after that. He was probably like 20 something, just like doing this for shits and giggles. I was like, it's all good, man. Just, whatever. So they said your flowers are delivered. I sent them back, like, no, they're not. Like, got the wrong ones. Filled the survey. Customer service reached out. They're like, yo, your flowers are coming. Next morning, this old dude in a Hawaiian shirt, probably like 70s, showed up at the door like 9 o'clock in the morning, got me the right flowers. My guy went back in his car and ate a full breakfast spread. Like he was sitting, like I could see him outside of my window from my office, and he's eating a whole ass breakfast spread. He had a breakfast bagel. He had some fruit. He had coffee. I think he had a bowl of something. I'm like, damn, dude, you could have just come on in and had some breakfast with us. But back to the shout out to my wife. 7 years, 2 kids later, we moved a bunch, had ups and downs, all that kind of good stuff. We laughed, we cried, that whole thing, but somehow she's still here. And as they are the ones that keep us all going, us guys that keep us all going, keep us in the right state of mind, get us going in the right direction. She's the brains of the operation. If it was up to me to handle like our finances and shit like that, we'd be homeless. So shout out to my wife for being the rock star and celebrating 7 years.
So I have 3. I had 2 to begin.
God damn.
And one is a new special one because I had to reflect on quick stories. And the first one is shout out to Steven's wife. 1, I've known Steven since before he was married. But 2, she's the one that told me one time that y'all asses were moving. Steven didn't even tell me. Yeah. I come in the house.
Though. That's so true, though. She's like, did you tell Christian we're moving? I was like, nope. Dead ass. That's so true, though.
Y'all are moving. Oh, yeah, we're moving. We have a couple of showings. What? Yeah. Steven didn't even tell me this shit.
Nope.
So that's my first one. Second one, shout out to my brother. He's actually in Italy for this whole month. And what's funny is I just sent him a
whole month
Twitter thing. Yeah, so it's kind of like schooling type thing. He's in Florence, but my mom's going out there for the final week to end up seeing him. It's 2 classes. First off, it's 2 classes, but he graduated from school. So you just tell me how much he has to pay attention in those classes. One of the classes is a wine marketing class. So they go to different wine vineyards and stuff. Shit is kind of dope. But I sent him something because Paul George had his wedding in Italy and it was him and Carl Anthony Towns. And I sent him, I was like, can you find him? He was like, dude, you sent me Cat and Paul George just dancing. I don't know where this is. So
there's probably not too many 6, 8, or 7 foot black dudes walking around Italy. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah. So that's the second one. And third shout out goes to my cousin. So it's my younger cousin. He's in 3rd grade. Steven, listen to this when I tell you it. So he's in 3rd grade. Apparently they have like a top 100 for 3rd graders on like the East Coast. Clearly they make up anything nowadays. But when I tell you,
top 100 for what?
Football. So
Okay.
he's like in the top 100 for football. But when I tell you this, because he was one of the better ones, he got a ring, and I texted my dad back because he went to go see him in Delaware. And I said, of course, he's one of the top 100. He's probably the top 2 because he is too big. So my cousin, he lives in Florida, but he's 5'4" at age 9, and he's in 3rd grade. He weighs 195 pounds.
Bro, chill the fuck out.
And he's an offensive lineman. I promise you, nobody is going around him.
5'4".
Yes.
Which is taller than like my wife. My wife's 4'11". 5'4", 194 pounds in 3rd grade.
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
1,000%.
Are you sure he's in 3rd grade?
And the crazier thing is, I thought that was crazy too. But
is he on Rivals yet? Rivals.com? Is he there yet? Can I find him?
He almost needs to, because the other dude.
How much your boy?
So that's the offensive lineman. The defensive lineman that was a part of it, he is 5'2", and you ready for this?
Nope.
210 pounds. God damn.
Bro,
so
that's crazy. 5'4", 195 pounds, 5'2", 210 pounds.
And they said he's probably going to be over 6'4". I was like, you think?
I fucking hope so.
I know. It has to even out somehow.
If not, he's going to be the first 5'4", 300-pound offensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah, at that rate, yeah. So I was like, he has 3 other siblings. You know who's eating all the food? Not them. Yeah. There's not enough.
Are his parents big? Like, is the rest of the family big?
So my cousin,
he just got good genes.
I'm trying to figure out where he got the genes from. It clearly was not from my side of the family, because my cousin, she's maybe 5'7" or so. Everyone else is skinny. His dad is my height, so like 6 foot, 6'1", regular build. Like, they're not big people, but I assume way down yonder on his side of the family, it must have been, because all of my dad's siblings, we all stopped at 6 foot. So I'm like, I don't know where this big wide frame came from. I wasn't 5'4", 195. I promise you I was at 195, but I was probably much shorter than that. But
yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, see, exactly. But so that was my shout outs. Just thinking about that, I had to give him a shout out, because I said, of course, Dad, any team he's on is going to win, because you're not getting, it doesn't matter the position. I said, I don't know what position he plays, but I promise you he's probably
give him the ball.
Give him the ball.
Give him the rock.
Yes.
And just let him run every single
exactly
3rd grade, bro. 3rd grade, like, dude, they probably can't, because there's probably like a weight limit on like running backs and shit. But like, he would probably kill somebody. He would. He would kill little Frank.
Yes, Frank would be dead at that point. Yeah, but that's all we have for today. Next week we'll have another exciting episode. It starts to get busy on my side on the weekend, so I'll tell you a bunch of different adventures. Between, we have like 2 weddings to go to, different things in like August, so it's going to start to get crazy, but we'll always hold you down for you on Wednesdays. What's up? So
I think now that I'm in like this location, I'm just gonna start the show with a blank screen, and we got to guess where I'm at.
Where's Steven at?
Like, where is Steven? Like, where's Waldo? Mm-hmm. Where's Steven at? I'm gonna stay in my house, because I don't feel like going other places to do this. But like, where am I gonna be at? Am I gonna be in the closet? Am I gonna be in the bathroom? Mm-hmm. Am I gonna be in Mason's room? Where am I gonna be at?
Yeah.
So I think we'll start doing little tricks.
Yes. So that's something I'm gonna look forward to. We'll catch you guys next week. Make sure to read the blog that Steven has out there. It's a great read. Make sure to tune in to our different episodes we will have next week. And for everyone out there, shoot or shoot, and we out.
Peace.